got that, and welcome to its Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Sunday, August 25th, 2024, and tonight I'll be talking about AEW All In London. So I know this aired earlier in the day, and I do apologize for doing the review this late. I was at Paramorphicon. I've been at Paramorphicon all weekend long, and I just finished All In, so that's why I'm doing the review late. So if you're watching, thank you so much for watching, because I know it's late. So let's talk about this main event, the AEW World title match. It's Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland. It is a title versus career match. Bryan Danielson wins. He wins the AEW World title. Swerve Strickland wins. Bryan would be forced to retire. So I felt from the moment this match was made a career versus title match that Bryan would win. One of the things I like about this was that, like, you had Brie and their children at ringside, and there were moments when, like, Swerve Strickland was just looking at them, like, kind of like saying, like, "Are you watching, like, what I'm doing to Bryan?" And at one point, Bryan even mouths, "I'm sorry," to his family. So I really did like all of the storytelling that was involved in this. And Hangman Adam Page, I guess you can say that he's the reason Swerve Strickland lost this, because, like, at one point, you know, Swerve Strickland was mocking Bryan Danielson's yes chant, and, like, Hangman, and Hangman, he has stopped. Since he came back, he has been wanting to get his hands. Great main event. I agree. He has been wanting to get his hands on Swerve Strickland. He's going to stop at nothing until he gets his hands. And he couldn't get his hands on Swerve Strickland tonight, but you can say he cost him that title. The title. And I think at All Out, we're going to get Hangman versus Swerve Strickland here. Unhinged Hangman. I've actually been digging Unhinged Hangman. I don't know about you guys, but I've dug it. So Bryan is ultimately victorious. He makes Swerve Strickland tap out. And I believe he said this is the first time in his career that he's tapped out. So this was a fantastic match. I do think where we go from here is, I think Bryan's going to have a short title reign. I could see him having a couple of title defenses between here and Wrestle Dream, but I do think he's retiring at Wrestle Dream. So I did see, this is the image of Bryan tapping out Swerve Strickland, and then, you know, BCC and Brie and the kids came out to celebrate with them. I thought this was just such a sweet, very sweet moment overall to see him celebrate with his kids and stuff. I thought that was cute. Prophecy fulfilled. Yeah, prophecy fulfilled, exactly. And, like, I also like the fact, like, at the beginning, Bryan Danielson came out to the final countdown. That was epic. And just to see that image at the end with Bryan and everybody celebrating, I can't wait for the Fallout 2 All In on this on Wednesday. So this was great. I really enjoyed this main event. This is likely his last year. Yeah, I think so too. I think he's going to retire at Wrestle Dream in his home state of Washington. All right, so let's kick things off talking about the 0 Hour. Now, 0 Hour, one of the things that I liked that they did this year was that they had interviews. They had an interview with Ospreay and Bryan Danielson. They even had a segment with Swerve Strickland signing his new contract. So I really like this. You know, hopefully they do more of this, because, like, the 0 Hour is really, really long sometimes, with a very few things in between. Now, we had a 16-man tag match. It was Private Party, Ariya Daivari, Dark Order, Satnam Signh, and Jay Lethal, and Anthony Ogogo versus Kyle Fletcher, Rocky Romero, Kip Sabian, the Dynamite Kid, Tommy Billington, Top Flight, Action Andretti, and Lio Rush. That was a mouthful. It was 16 men. You know, this actually surprisingly wasn't too bad of a match. This was a fun little match. Kyle Fletcher, I think, really shined in this match. One of my first spots is when Kyle Fletcher, Dynamite Kid, Dante Martin, and Andretti all jumped off from the top rope to the outside. That was a really cool spot here. The winners were Kyle Fletcher, Rocky Romero, Kip Sabian, Dynamite Kid, Tom Billington, Top Flight, Action Andretti, and Lio Rush. So I think this was a nice little way to kick off 0 Hour. Then we get the mixed tag matches: Stokely, Hathaway, and Kris Statlander versus Willow, Nightingale, and Tomohiro Ishii. So whoever won this match will choose stipulation for All Out. Willow, Nightingale, and Tomohiro Ishii were victorious. I have to say, one of the things I really liked about this was like Stokely Hathaway did everything in his power to avoid stepping into the ring with Tomohiro Ishii. And then like Kris Statlander actually took a shot at Ishii. I thought that was really cool. But Willow, Nightingale, and Tomohiro Ishii were victorious. So we're gonna wait and see what the stipulation between Kris Statlander and Willow Nightingale is. And then the last match, we still had a segment that followed. I do apologize for that car horn. My window's open. Sorry. So we also had a 10-man tag match. It's a Cage of Agony and Undisputed Kingdom versus Sammy Guevara, Katsuyori, Shibata, the Von Erichs, and Dustin Rhodes. And we had so many multi-man tag matches here. Now, I have to say, Sammy Guevara and Brian Cage both dressed as Wolverine. I'm surprised they both went with the traditional yellow suit here. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. They were dressed as Wolverine. But this was also kind of a fun little match here. Sammy Guevara, Katsuyori Shibata, the Von Erichs, and Dustin Rhodes were victorious here. And then like Kevin Von Erich had a moment where he put the claw on Matt Taven. So to close out 0 Hour, we had a Saraya segment. And Cage always dresses as Wolverine. Oh, that's true. We had a Saraya segment. And she's basically talking about how she's upset because, you know, last year she went from being on the card at All In to this year, and she's not even on the card. And, you know, she's disrespecting, I don't want to say she's disrespecting England, but she basically says that she makes a claim that she's the best female wrestler that came out of England. Of course, we know she's not the only female wrestler to come out of England. And she's just, like, super pissed here. She's being super, like, disrespectful and stuff like that. And like the crowd is even booing her despite the fact that they're in her home country, her hometown, they're booing her. And Jamie Hayter returns and she takes out Saraya. You guys remember that Saraya and the Outcasts were responsible for taking out Jamie Hayter and taking the AEW Women's title off of her. So I will say, as much as I enjoyed this segment and I'm happy that Jamie Hayter is back, I also dislike it in the sense that why would you have Jamie return on the pre-show? You should have saved this for the actual pay-per-view. Like, you should have had, instead of, I get it why they did it. They probably wanted Saraya to have a moment in a segment in Wembley because she wasn't on the card. But you could have had Jamie Hayter return during Dr. Britt Baker DMD's match. You know, instead of having her return here. But it is what it is. So I'm happy she's back. So the main card kicked off with the London Ladder match for the trios titles. It was a Patriarchy versus House of Black versus Bang Bang Gang. And I guess you can say the Black Bull Combat Club here. So, you know, obviously, I guess it's a given that the Lucha Brothers are leaving because I would assume that the Death Triangle would have been in this match. Pac is in this match, but he's with Claudio Castelloni and Wheeler Yuta, which I'm assuming the Lucha Brothers would have had their spots in here. But anywho, we had a spot in here where like Juice Robinson tried to put Mother Wayne through a table because she like tried to spray him and she wasn't able to. But the Blackpool Combat Club win this. And like at the end, the House of Black extend their hands for respect. So overall, fun little match to kick off All In. Next, we get the match that I was looking forward to. It's the AEW Women's World Title match, Mariah May versus Toni Storm. And this, holy smokes, was a freaking good match. Like this, to me, out of all the matches on the card, this is the one match I was looking forward to the most. And this was a really great match. Mariah May and Toni Storm both knocked it out of the park. I really enjoyed the story that they've been telling with Mariah May and Toni Storm. This was great. This was incredible. And like Mariah May slapping her own mom and just trying to get that heat. Mariah slapped her mother was wild. Yeah, I was not expecting that. I like when Mariah May low blow Toni Storm and Toni Storm low blow her. But Mariah May defeated Toni Storm with a Storm Zero. So defeating Toni Storm with her own finisher. Not adding insult to injury. Not only did she beat her and take her title, but she beat her with her own move. Can we get the old Toni Storm back now? Maybe. And at the end, like, the crowd was just cheering for Toni Storm. So this was great. Really enjoyed this. Now, of course, they've been copying that movie All About Eve, because now it's all about Mariah. So I'm very curious to see, because I don't want to, like, spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen the movie. This made Mariah a star now. Who love this build. Yeah, this has probably been one of the best builds, one of the best stories they've told in AEW, especially for the women's division. I've really enjoyed this. Now, the way All About Eve ends is that Eve basically gets what she wants, and then a new star comes and tries to take Eve's place. Kind of what she did to Margot Channing, played by the late Betty Davis. So I wonder if they're going to follow that exact same storyline where Mariah, who's supposed to be Eve, where at the end she gets a new admirer. So we have to wait and see. I'm very curious to see if they do that on Dynamite. But yeah, so if you haven't seen All About Eve, you should watch it as a reference to the story, because that's what this story was copying. So really great. But yeah, Hook versus Chris Jericho. And honestly, kind of was not a huge fan of this. I was just kind of over this feud. I did like the finish where you had Taz, like, he put the Taz mission to Brian Keith, while Hook was doing the Taz mission to Chris Jericho, and Hook won by submission. I did like the ending, but aside from that, I wasn't into this match. I don't really like the learning tree. We have a 3-way match for the tag titles. It's the Acclaim versus the Bucks versus FTR. There was this one spot where, like, Max Caster helped do the EVP trigger to Dax Harwood. I was like, what the heck? But nevertheless, the Young Bucks were victorious, and at the end we had the Grizzled Young Vets debut, and they attacked FTR. Now, I don't know if they're officially signed with AEW. I haven't read anything, but I'm very curious to see where this leads to. I mean, the Grizzled Young Vets had an amazing run in Impact. I wish they would have won the tag titles, but they're an incredible tag team. I can't wait to see what they do. Maybe it'll add a new spark to AEW's tag team division here. So maybe they're gonna feud with FTR, maybe they'll feud with the Bucks. Gotta wait and see what happens here. But I'm very curious, very intrigued by the arrival of the Grizzled Young Vets. So next we get the Casino Gauntlet match. And we all knew Orange Cassidy entered, was gonna enter at number 1. Okada entered at number 2. And they both hugged. Now we had 12 entrants in this match. So probably Hangman was in this match, obviously, because he's trying to get his hands on Swerve Strickland. He was gonna stop at nothing to get his hands on him here. But so a couple of surprises from here was Nigel McGuinness coming out of retirement and entering at number 3. I was not expecting that at all. Zack Sabre Jr. coming in at number 5. And I don't want to say it was no surprise, because I think we all kind of knew. I think there was some suspicion. Coming in at number 10, Ricochet. And Hangman seemed surprised by this. He seemed kind of taken back. So I'm happy for Ricochet. I hope it works well for him in AEW. I definitely cannot wait for, like, potentially Ricochet versus Will Ospreay, or even Ricochet versus Orange Cassidy. I can't wait to see what they do with Ricochet and see where it goes from here. But hopefully, it works out for him. But Christian Cage ends up being victorious during this match, and he's going to end up facing the winner of Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland, which we now know is Bryan Danielson. You know, Christian Cage with his whole dad and his whole father thing, I think it's going to make for a really interesting feud. I don't know if this is going to be the Wrestle Dream match. It might just be the All Out match, but we have to wait and see. But it's definitely going to be an intriguing feud, to say the least. We get an AEW American title match. It's Will Ospreay versus MJF. This is another match I was looking forward to. Mr. Samantha Irving is here. This was another match I was looking forward to. MJF and his freaking gear. He came out all decked in USA gear and stuff. Will Ospreay also had an Assassin's Creed. I don't play Assassin's Creed. I'm not much of a gamer. So I still thought it was a pretty cool entrance. But this was a great match. And I think the big question mark was Will Ospreay going to use the Tiger Driver 97 on MJF here? The poor ref took a bumping during this match after Will Ospreay hit him with the hidden blade. Of course, he didn't do it on purpose, but he was trying to aim for MJF, but he ducked. So a mask comes out and attacks MJF, which is revealed to be Daniel Garcia. As we all know, MJF was responsible for taking out Daniel Garcia, so it makes perfect sense that he would come out here. And he basically caused MJF this match. You know, Will Ospreay went after with the hidden blade and a Tiger Driver in 97. And then at the end, he refused to accept the American title, and he bought back the international title. So this was great. This was a great match. So, next we get the TBS title matches. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Mercedes Moné. I think there was a certain expectation for this match, considering it is Mercedes Moné. And I have to say, while I didn't really enjoy the build to this match, I was kind of looking forward to it, not as much as Mariah May versus Toni Storm. But I just feel like this match felt flat. When you look at this match and you look at Toni Storm versus Mariah May, that match was a million times better. I honestly feel like they should have switched both of these matches on the card. I get why this match went on third to last. I understand. But I just feel like there was somewhat of a hype surrounding this match, and it just, in my opinion, didn't live up to the hype. You know, it wasn't necessarily bad. It's just I feel like the spark wasn't there. One of the things I did like about this was, as we all know, Mercedes Moné is a huge fan of Eddie Guerrero. The chemistry was off. It definitely was off. And it showed. And as we all know, Eddie Guerrero was famous for his little tricks during the matches. And Britt Baker pulled one on Camille. She, threw the belt at her, and she just fell. And she got Camille ejected from here. I did like the fact that she used the Panama Sunrise. Shout out to Adam Cole, baby. But it's no surprise Mercedes Moné won this. I knew she was going to win. I think it would have been too soon for Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, to take the title off of Mercedes Moné. But I definitely don't think this feud is over with. I do see another match coming. But hey, I would be surprised if this is a one-match feud. So let's get the coffin match for the TNT titles, Darby Allin versus Jack Perry. This was really interesting because you guys know what happened last year at All In with the whole Punk and Jack Perry incident, the glass. He put out a big giant bag of glass and he poured it out into the ring and sent Darby Allin into it. So obviously he's referencing the whole thing with Punk right there. Darby Allin got thrown off the stage onto a table. I was really surprised Jack Perry won this. I was not expecting Jack Perry to win. It seems like the Elite kept all of their gold. And Okada didn't even defend tonight. But Sting came out and he stopped the Bucks from pouring gasoline onto All In. And then he did the Scorpion Death Drops to the Bucks. So we had to see where we go from here. But I wonder if they're going to continue Team AEW versus Team The Elite. Punk is still living rent-free in this crowd. I think so. Because they did chant. All right. So what's up there? Because I did talk about the main event. This is great to see Sting again. Yeah, it is. All right. So on a scale from a 1 to a Sean Spears perfect 10, I thought this was a really great pay-per-view. No lie. Honestly, I really thought it was good. I wasn't a huge fan of Britt Baker versus Mercedes Moné. And I sure wasn't a huge fan of Hook versus Chris Jericho. I'm just over Chris Jericho's version of the Learning Tree. So with that being said, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I thought that overall it was a fantastic show. None of the matches felt like they were dragging and stuff like that. All right. So thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. As far as this schedule is concerned, I should be back to doing my reviews this week. I did go to Power Morphicon. I have been uploading some clips from various panels. I'm going to try to upload one of the panels that I filmed. So keep an eye out for that. And then I'm going to work on my vlog. On Thursday, I went on a field trip to the filming locations to the Power Rangers. So I definitely want to show you guys the filming locations that I went to. And with that being said, I will see you guys tomorrow after Monday Night Raw. Bye.